Jon Benjamin has one of the most recognizable voices on television, giving life to both Sterling Archer, the self-centered, womanizing secret agent on Archer, and Bob Belcher, the dedicated but grounded restaurateur and family man on Bob's Burgers. And Mr. Benjamin joins us today. I'm Charlie Bright of Gold Derby. And Jon, the first thing I want to ask you is kind of a general question, but what is it that you enjoy most about voicing both Sterling Archer and Bob Belcher?
Well, they're both great roles, and expected roles. Like when you get to do a show like this, you don't expect it to last this long. So it's been like for both characters, they started around the same time, the shows. So I started doing them, I think, like months apart, and then both shows got picked up, and that was like it's based on how it usually goes. No shows get picked up, at least in my experience, from a lot of the stuff I do. So, the fact that after like a season of doing both characters and having them be so different, it was good. It was a good back and forth, and then they kept going, and it's been. And the shows have both succeeded and both found big fan bases. So just being a part of two successful shows that are well done and well written and well acted, not necessarily me, but everybody else, it's been good.
And I know you've been doing voice acting for quite a while now. And I'm wondering, did you ever aim to be a voice actor, or is that something that you just sort of fell into?
I fell into it. I started doing comedy in Boston, Massachusetts in the early 90s. And I didn't really know about voice acting. Commercial agents in Boston, ad agencies would seek out some comedians to do voiceover work on commercials. I actually never did that, but we mentioned Sam Cedar, who's on Burgers. He used to do that. So I was aware that you could use your voice on television. Wasn't an idiot. But it was just by a fluke. Jonathan Katz, who was a comedian at the time, we were friendly, and he asked me to work on his show that was this very low budget show on Comedy Central called Dr. Katz, and it just went from there. So I had no intent to do it for a living, and I'm still shocked that I do it. You have this amazing privilege right now in terms of doing both these shows that are on at the same time, and they also have such devoted fan followings. I can only imagine what it must be like to be a part of one show at one point in time that has that kind of fan base. But what's it been like to voice lead characters on two shows that are on at the same time and have these devoted fan followings? Yeah, it was like it was interesting to watch them both evolve or develop a fan base. Early, like I said, I didn't even meet the cast of Archer until a year after the first season, because we don't really work together. We work remotely, and I do for that particular show. I do my part usually, like I go to a booth and record with the director, and I record my lines and leave. So I didn't even cast. So it wasn't until this was probably Comic-Con, San Diego. They was out after the first year. And they were both it wasn't like they were huge successes. It was that both shows had a following. And then the following year, that was markedly different, where all of a sudden we were moving to a big room, and we saw
like the fan base grow exponentially. So that was very cool and surprising.
So you're just coming off of Archer 1999, which is where we've had this season, and the 2 seasons before that have been like these extended dream sequences for Sterling. But now in the upcoming season, Archer is now awake now, and it's back to him and the characters that we were familiar with for the first several seasons. Has there been any like noticeable change in getting to perform Archer back in those regular surroundings again?
No, and to be fair, or to be honest, there was no particular change even for the coma seasons. A few of the characters changed. I think Chris Parnell played a Nazi, I believe, and my God, I'm blanking.
Danger Island, I think.
I'm sorry, Danger Island. And for the previous season, there was like only very brief. They would always call me, fill me in about how the season was changing or the arc of the season. But Upper on the whole stays pretty much the same. So I didn't have to prepare differently, and they didn't ask me to do like a hard-boiled voice for the first season. And yeah, so pretty much the show dictates Archer kind of stays the same. So yeah, I'm always aware that of what the season's going to bring beforehand, but on the whole, the character is the same guy.
Well, speaking of Archer always being the same guy, I'm curious. Do you find that there are any qualities of Sterling that you find you share with him, which could be positive or negative?
Right. I mean, I've been called an arrogant asshole by family members, and so forth, and people that I meet. Yeah, I think like there's definitely like I share some characteristics with Archer. I think the petulance. I'm probably not as successful as Archer in what I do, so I'm less confident. But also his sort of like I don't want to get too into it, but his like childlike quality, like enjoying a practical joke or to mess with somebody, with his coworkers or his mom and so forth. I do have that. So we definitely share that kind of like childish arrogance.
So I could say that that's his best quality, but
I mean, he's like he's definitely never really particularly changes for Archer. I think like as he's gone on as a character, he's gone through a bunch of different highs and lows, but on the whole, he pretty much stays the same.
Speaking of Archer, you actually earned the show its first Emmy nomination back in 2010 when you were nominated for voice acting at the Emmys. And I was wondering, just what was that experience like for you getting nominated in that field?
I think I was like that was very early on. So I had been doing a lot of shows. But on the whole, they were very small shows that had kind of like a cult following. There were some awards involved. I think in Dr. Katz, we were nominated for I think it's a Cable Ace Award way back where we went. I think those were discontinued. but yeah, like a little bit surprised. It was like Archer was sort of gaining steam, so it was fun to go out there and lose. It was very fun to go with Adam Reed, who's the creator of the show, and we presented that year. I feel like I presented my own category. If I'd have to go back to the tape, but I feel like there would have been no way I could have won. I was literally presenting my category, and if I had won, I would have had to say that, and the winner is me. So I think I knew ahead of time that I probably lost, because I would be like, why would you have the person present their own category? You know you're going to lose. But on the whole, that was very it was cool. I'd like to do it again.
Well, speaking of which, with the upcoming Emmys, you'll be you could be nominated for Archer or Bob's Burgers, or actually you could be nominated for both, because that's one of the few categories where you can be nominated against yourself. And I was curious. Mm-hmm. And I was curious if there was an episode of Archer, of this past season of Archer or Bob's Burgers, that you would want to be considered for at the upcoming Emmys.
Wow, that's a good question. I'd have to go back into the Bob's Burgers season to even be like, know which episodes. I mean, they don't choose the episodes that they submit for probably all of the actors on the show. So they choose for me. I guess for Archer, it would probably be the last episode of that would be 1999, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, probably the final episode. I can't remember the title of the episode, but when Archer comes out of his coma, it required the slightest degree of acting.
I think it's called Robert De Niro is what it's called.
Oh, Robert De Niro, right. Yeah. Maybe one. But usually on the people, the producers of the show are better served to pick the episodes, because it's, I've never made a suggestion on that.
Well, Jon, thank you so much for joining us. We wish you all the best this Emmy season. And to our viewers, please like this video and subscribe to our channel to stay up to date on all our content. And don't forget to go to goldderby.com, make your predictions, and see if you can outsmart the biggest prognosticators in Hollywood. Thanks so much.
Two Emmys for me this year, right?
That's right. Damn right.
All right. Thanks, Charlie.